Is the US poised to allow Ukraine to use long-range missiles in Russia? Well, reports suggest President Joe Biden is considering lifting the ban on British Storm Shadow missiles being fired into Russia. The change in policy can be triggered by claims that Iran has sent ballistic missiles to Russia. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has announced that Moscow has received these short-range Iranian ballistic missiles and that it's likely to use them in Ukraine within weeks. Blinken has said this just as he prepares to visit Ukraine with the UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy. They are set to meet the President Volodymyr Zelensky and other senior officials to discuss bolstering the country's defences. It appears that the alleged delivery of the new Iranian arms to Russia has prompted fresh discussions between the US and the UK over the use of Storm Shadows. Ukraine has been pressing for a change in US policy for months now, and if Washington ends its restrictions, it would enable Kyiv to use the British-supplied missiles to strike targets deep inside Russia and not just in occupied parts of Ukraine. Well, Ukraine's military strategists argue that access to Storm Shadow missiles could dramatically enhance the quality and frequency of strikes on critical Russian assets. The Franco-British missiles' advanced capabilities, including a bunker-busting warhead and low-altitude terrain-hugging flight paths, make it a formidable weapon against heavily fortified targets and challenging air defence systems. But sanctioning the Storm Shadows for use would be seen as an escalatory step that could cross a red line set by Vladimir Putin. For Russia itself, it seems to be pulling out all the stops to beef up its war machine. The US Deputy Secretary of State Kurt Campbell has said that China is aiding the Russian military. Campbell has claimed that Beijing is giving Moscow very substantial help to build up its war chest. Facing international sanctions, Moscow does need assistance to boost its military production to be able to continue its offensive, and Ukraine is sparing no effort to gain the upper hand. Now, as Blinken and Lammy travel to Kyiv, the key focus will be on whether the West agrees to Ukraine's request, or if concerns over escalation continue to dictate the cautious approach taken thus far.